democracy is once
strength
again
and confidence
the
of
watchword
our
of US foreign
country
policy.
has dissipated
Not to launch
over
some moral
the
crusade.
horizon.
Roughly 22% of the United States identifies as Catholic. That's over 70 million Americans. Out of all those self-identified Catholics, just 34% say they're sure to vote for Trump in 2020. A higher percentage, 38%, say they're certain they will not vote for him in 2020. This shouldn't come as any surprise, as the Catholic vote has always been a toss-up. In 2000, Al Gore won the Catholic vote 50-47. 2004, Bush, 52-47. 2008, Obama, 54-45. 2012, Obama, 50-48. And in 2016, the Catholic vote went to Trump, 52-45. How could so many Catholics vote in complete opposition to their faith?
They've been trained to think, well, since I'm concerned about eliminating poverty, homelessness, improving minority education, minority opportunity, all those things are equivalent to and just as important as defending unborn life. And so they can kind of shrug their shoulders because they really think they're doing things that are just as important.
The church teaches that abortion is a grave offense, abominable crime, and even incurs excommunication. Yet, in 2000, the Catholic vote was 50-47 in favor of the pro-abortion candidate. In 2004, it was 47%. 2008, 54%. 2012, 50%. And in 2016, 45% of Catholics voted for the pro-abortion candidate.
And it's sinful to vote for a politician who's going to kill unborn babies with their votes because you participate in that action by voting for him.
A majority of Catholics don't believe abortion, contraception, euthanasia, or homosexual acts are intrinsically evil, which is what the church teaches. On top of this, 70% don't believe the source and summit of the faith, that the bread and wine undergo transubstantiation and become the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ during Mass. The official church teaching tells us that incredulity is the neglect of revealed truth or the willful refusal to assent to it, and that heresy is the obstinate post-baptismal denial of some truth which must be believed with divine and Catholic faith. The 1917 Code of Canon Law explains this in more detail. After receiving baptism, if anyone retaining the Christian name obstinately denies any of the truths that are to be believed of the divine and Catholic faith or casts doubt thereon, he is a heretic. Likewise, current canon law says that heresy is the obstinate denial or obstinate doubt after the reception of baptism of some truth which is to be believed by divine and Catholic faith. And right above, one who rejects those propositions which are to be held definitively is opposed to the doctrine of the Catholic Church. So it can be strongly argued most self-identified Catholics, many of whom have never been well-formed in the faith, that their neglect or willful refusal to accept revealed truth with divine and Catholic faith results in this status. The overwhelming majority of self-identified Catholics are simply Catholic in name only, which is why we've seen and continue to see Catholics voting for candidates who oppose church teaching on virtually every issue.
Well, as we saw with the Obama election, within a matter of months, he had done away with all the important pro-life initiatives of President Bush. I think Biden is one of these type of hollow men who simply does whatever it takes to remain in power and remain in favor. People are taught by the air they breathe, by the things and images they see in the media, the things they read. And what we'll have will be back to a culture that is teaching our young people that human life is important only if it's convenient.
A review of both candidate and President Trump's politics reveals his close association with Catholic teaching, even though he himself is not a Catholic. For the record, First Lady Melania is. Trump's presidential history. He chose his running mate, Mike Pence, who has a 99% conservative rating by the American Conservative Union, and famously said almost a decade ago, "I long for the day that Roe v. Wade is sent to the ash heap of history."
From my first time in public life, I've sought to stand with great compassion for the sanctity of life. The very idea that a child that is almost born into the world could still have their life taken from them is just anathema to me. And I can't conscience about a party that supports that.
3 days after he was sworn in as president, he issued the Mexico City policy, referred to by the left as the global gag rule, an executive order to block federal funding from going to pro-abortion organizations. He is the first president in history to speak at March for Life, the largest annual human rights demonstration in the world.
Every human life, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of Almighty God.
He put Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court and has appointed almost 200 judges, nearly a third of the entire federal judiciary, something that will prove to be his lasting legacy, as well as the most feared aspect of his presidency by the left. Joe Biden, the nominal Catholic by comparison, served as Barack Obama's vice president for 8 years. Obama in 1997 opposed a bill that would prevent partial birth abortion and did nothing but advance the party of death's agenda.
As long as we've got to fight to make sure women have access to quality, affordable health care, and as long as we've got to fight to protect a woman's right to make her own choices about her own health, I want you to know that you've also got a president who's going to be right there with you, fighting every step of the way. Thank you, Planned Parenthood. God bless you. God bless America.
During his time as ranking minority member of the U.S. Senate Foreign Relations Committee in the 1990s, Biden was the driving force behind the granting of Most Favored Nation trade status to Communist China, a murderous dictatorship and consistent human rights violator, a government built on mass murder stretching back to Mao Zedong and his communist revolution. For decades, China forcibly aborted millions of babies under its notorious so-called one-child policy, as well as targeting first pregnancies that were baby girls. The Communist Chinese developed and still maintain one of the most horrific prison and detention camp networks in the world, routinely arresting and detaining political and religious enemies of the state. This has been well known for decades. Yet Biden used his political acumen in the Senate to get fellow senators to overlook the atrocities, launching China on its bid to become the leading economic power in the world. He officiated a gay wedding between 2 longtime White House staffers in 2016, and on top of all this, he claims to be a Catholic.
But my father would say the cardinal sin of all sins is the abuse of power, whether it's a man raising his hand to a woman, whether it is the government abusing its power, basic essential elements of what constitutes Catholicism. The idea that everyone's entitled to dignity, that you have an obligation to reach out and be inclusive.
We need every person to get involved in promoting the culture of life and not the culture of death. And you're promoting the culture of death when you do nothing. Because when good people do nothing, evil abounds.
Father Frank Pavone, National Director of Priests for Life and also the President of the National Pro-Life Religious Council, says, "In the elections of 2020, we're not simply asked to choose between Donald Trump and his opponent. We are being asked to choose either the culture of life or the culture of death, religious freedom or religious oppression, prosperity or poverty, a secure nation or open borders, patriotism or globalism, a free market or socialism, the Constitution or judicial tyranny, law and order or anarchy."
Let's imagine a set of balances. Let's put weird tweets. Let's put rude tweets. Let's put anger. Let's put unnecessary bashing of the press corps, all on that one side, and let's put unborn life on the other. Which weighs more?